Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
Esports trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll! We're gonna take flag. See White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
Beast Mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Blue manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Starting the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
Is the most wonderful time of the year. You may be thinking something else, but no, it's actually Saturday Night Overwatch. Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's good to be back here yet again for some more CGL action with, again, another weekend of Saturday Night Overwatch. My name is Sam Tonks. Joining me here on the desk, none other than Spectreon, Joker, and 2 Try Hard Ray for our NAGM tier. We're stepping into it with this is a fun name. mmmfghm versus RRGJV. But before we get too further into that, I want to step away and look at our amazing panelists, our desks here that we have going on here. Analysts rather than panelists. Spectreon, how are you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm doing lovely. I've had a full day of doing only Overwatch since I've woken up till now, and I'm looking to continue all the way till I go to bed. So this is peak for me, to be honest.
Is that a good night? Yeah, that's a good night.
Fantastic night.
Joker. Joker.
I've woken up. I've cast UK Collegiate. Had some time for ranked. SNO EU, more ranked. SNO NA. This is it. This is life.
You're really living it up right now. This is Spectrion's most wonderful time of the year. Joker, how about yourself, my friend?
I'm good.
Boy, that's you're really giving me a lot to work with here, Joker. That's
Played some Marvel
I
Rivals.
need to call someone for you.
Played some
you
Marvel
playing
Ri-
what?
Played Marvel Rivals today.
Who?
Got pissed off at people because they don't know how to play a game, and now I'm here again.
I only know Overwatch, so
And it's fair. That's fair.
I don't know what game you're talking about. Sorry, Joker.
That's fair.
Ray, how you doing, buddy?
Feeling pretty good. You know, we'll see what game we're doing later, but you know, I have my notebook here. I'm writing down all my notes that I'm gonna have for the game later, so I'm excited for that. But got some great Overwatch earlier. Nice little game we had earlier, and I'm excited for the game tonight. Just because there's been so much talk about our RG with their varsity and JV team, and the JV somehow beating the varsity team. So they've always been a fun one to have on stream.
Yeah, there's got to be some discussions going on right now between the varsity and the JV. I feel like it's the JV team's like, I'm the captain now, give me the varsity title. Guys, we're in the playoffs though. So things have been exciting. Things have been ramping up. Things have been getting more and more intense. And obviously with what we have right now between mmmfghm and RRGJV, Spectrion, I mean, things are really getting down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we are well into the midst of Malgameta. We are well into seeing how most people want to approach this, and I think we've been seeing a lot of people don't agree with this patch, right? You know, in terms of the fundamentals needed to really accurately and effectively play this meta, a lot of people aren't really clicking with it, so instead they're going towards different strategies to try and find success. You know, to draw your minds back to RWCS Stockholm, for example, now Twisted Minds, of course, playing this Farah Ash to play for an extended poke phase, so they don't actually have to take these brawl trays that they know they're going to lose out. NRG Shock playing for Sombra Queen, so they can instead take even heavier ult trays than the standard composition, so they again don't have to play the neutral, they don't have to play those fundamentals, they just press Q at the right time and they're going to win. These are what we're seeing teams trying to look to find successful if they know they can't find success at the Echo Reaper Malga.
Yeah, Joker. I mean, well, first of all, you two were in Stockholm together. I heard something about pints being shared, something along those lines. Watching Airbud and all of the. You go to Sweden, all the way to Sweden to watch Airbud.
Yep,
buddy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Go to the movie.
Yes, it is. But going back to what Spectrion said, right? We were able to take a look, see at what was happening at Stockholm. We were able to get an idea of what you need to do if you can have that flexibility. And if the playoffs have shown us anything, right, the ability to be flexible but also playing what you're comfortable with, there's a lot of different things that you can have going on inside of what is now this meta.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, obviously Reaper Malga Echo, right, is the meta, but if you don't feel comfortable on that, you need to have star DPS that can pop off at any time. We saw that earlier today in the EU matchup with Ton Mikita and Sokoka. And then we saw it as well in Spectron and Eyes cast yesterday with the DPS being able to take over matches and really help solidify things when necessary.
And, I mean, Ray, with what we have going on now, right, being so far as we are into the playoffs, it's these do or die moments where you have to make sure that you know what you're doing and hope, especially at the level that we're at, right? We're in the GM tier, that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and the other problem is you're basically just fighting to get through this weekend because Tuesday we have another patch dropping, so you're going to have to play, depending on where you are in the bracket, 1, 2, maybe even 3 games on this new patch. And the further back, like if you're just waiting in grand finals, you have time to just scrim, figure it out, and be ready for grand finals. All the rest of the teams, they might be playing on like Wednesday or Thursday, like the patch just dropped and we got to figure this out and still try and win a game and move on.
Exactly. So a lot at the forefront for tonight. It's kind of that little bit extra riding on the line to give yourself that more of a buffer room and more time to be able to work with. So let's go ahead and take a look at today's schedule that we've had for Saturday Night Overwatch. Of course, we had the EU side of the pond where a lot of great things were happening if you're the God Stack. EMC Helheim, not so much. 3-0. And then, of course, mmmfghm versus RRGJV happening right here, right now, in about 23 minutes. So, a lot going on. Lot of exciting news. Spectrum, how was that 3-0 brutal, or was it like what was going on there?
It wasn't ideal, I'll put it that way. EMC Helheim, it's not that meta. I think, like I said, a lot of teams maybe can't adjust to this patch, and I think that EMC Helheim took a weird halfway house in between playing what was really comfortable to them and playing what was good. And halfway houses in Overwatch are always a bit of a...
Well,
you don't love to see it, I'll put it that way. So I would have loved to see a lot more from EMC Helheim. I think definitely that we will be seeing them in some form or another in season, what was it now? 17?
15? For CGL.
Good lord, I can't count. Yeah, CGL. We'll see some of them next season as the relevant thing, at least.
A lot of seasons going on.
What you could say, Sam, is with the halfway house they were playing, basically, Godstack was able to pull out a diva composition on King's Row and beat the Mauga because they weren't playing meta enough. So, yeah, it was rough.
It was rough. But we'll see how tonight goes for our two teams. Speaking of our two teams, right? Get an idea of what's going on here. Neither of these teams have met each other, right? They haven't played each other in the regular season, I believe.
Yeah, mid-season, as Spectreon pointed out, I was just looking at the regular season schedule, forgot to check mid-season. They did play each other in mid-season, and did end up winning 3-1 in the mid-season. So that, I mean, again, that was still also like 7 weeks ago at this point. So we've come a long way since then. So we're going to have to see where these teams have improved, where things have changed, and how they're adapting to the Mauga meta.
Yeah, it's a JV team that's obviously been evolving through the ages. Just ask their varsity team, right, Spectreon? That's a good way to see how these teams have improved. Yeah, it's a good way to see how they've been able to come so far and what they've been able to do in about 6 weeks' time.
Yeah, I mean, not that I have a crazy amount of knowledge of varsity and whatnot, considering we don't have it in our country, but I do know, at least for our own collegiate league, that you definitely have a lot of scenarios where, for whatever reason, the strongest players maybe don't always make their way up to the strongest teams. And, you know, sometimes it takes tournament results to find that different. I was just out with some people from a rival university, and they spent like 3 hours complaining about this exact same thing, but essentially. So I think it does depend. But also, you know, one thing that is less personality-based is just people improve at different rates. And if you're improving that well as a unit, and you are able to beat your, you know, in theory, superior team, that requires but that deserves a lot of praise. That deserves to be lauded.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket and see just what has been happening in our playoffs so far. And, I mean, a lot has been happening here, right? We're getting an idea of what's been going on, and especially now that we step into the lower bracket, this is kind of that do or die moment, Joker, for both of these teams, because... well, we could be getting the RRG JV RRG varsity rematch in our lower bracket round 3, or we could be having no more RRG, depending on how tonight goes.
Yeah, RRG varsity, obviously we're not looking at them, but they are going against the overall #1 seed in the GM tier, so that is a very tall task to ask. And like we said earlier, I mean, MFG, right, was played against RRG 6 weeks ago. They won then. Looking to continue that now, looking to meet Anenra, possibly either one of them, right, obviously in this next round. But this bracket has been crazy, right? Anenra's in the losers bracket right now. And the team that beat Anenra is in the losers bracket down the line as well.
Yeah, I mean, this has been going all over the place, Ray. And not only that, right, we see mmmfghm pushed out in the first round of the winners bracket, or the upper bracket rather, down into the lower bracket where they 3-1 Workers Union, and now they brought themselves here where RRGJV got 3-0'd in the second round of the upper bracket.
Yeah, this is one of the divisions where the talent has been pretty well spread out, and yeah, I mean, Big Titi Tarfan has kind of gone through unscathed. But I mean, a lot of these matchups have been very close. A lot of the records have been indicative of that, where Squirt Squad is a 2-loss team and they made it all the way to the winners finals, and they're waiting in the losers finals for the rest of the teams. So I think this has been one of the more competitive, close, tight-knit regions or divisions, and I think we're going to continue to see that tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, you're looking at Spectreon, right? Squirt Squad, who's sitting there waiting in the lower bracket for the 2 matchups that we have here, and then the next matchup. So 3 more games that they had to go through, basically, before they figure out who they're even going up against. Meanwhile, you have our grand finals matchup waiting to even be seeing what's going on there as well.
Yeah.
So
Grand finals matchup could be cool.
yeah, lot going on. It's insane week that we have ahead of us, and a lot of action for the playoff still to come. But before we go any further in talking about this, Spectreon, you have a game for us tonight that I'm gonna let you talk about.
Okay, so it's a very simple game. So, as many people know, I have a propensity to mold, right? I have a short temper. I think when teams are playing bad, it really gets my goat, right? And another thing that gets my goat is bad patch notes. We've had like 2 patches in a row where Juno has been given a slap on the wrist, and her ultimate is still the most powerful thing. If I had the President of the United States and Juno ult on one room, then the most powerful thing is the Juno ult. It's insane. I hate it. Anyway, so what we're going to do, we're going to write some patch notes. There's going to be 3 submissions, one from each of our honorable, venerable desk members, and I'm going to give each one a rating out of 10. And the one that tilts me the most is the winner, and the one that tilts me the least, I don't know, you get like an uncreative point. So,
oh boy.
You get put in the naughty corner, maybe a dunce hat as well. So that's how the game's going to be. That is what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be starting off, I believe, with the Joker's Ransom, who's got an offering for us.
Yeah. So we're gonna first start. I'm gonna make. This is gonna be completely to just make Tracer and Genji like unplayable, right? So if you don't know, Spectreon loves to play Tracer and Genji. So first and foremost, we're bringing back Roadhog's one-shot potential.
Ooh.
Okay.
And you know what? On top of that, we're going to revert Roadhog Hook to 1.0.
Okay.
Where you can hook them through space and time.
Yeah. So like with the Tracer recalls, and you're hooked, you're still gonna get hooked.
Sombra TP as well. Yeah. I'm with you so far.
Next, we're gonna bring back old school Cassidy concussion mine, right?
Oh yeah, Flash.
Concussion grenade, Flash. We're gonna bring Flashbang back to its Overwatch 1 glory days.
Yeah.
And then as well, we're making May freeze again.
May freeze, yep.
Mm-hmm. And then we're gonna make Brigitte. We're gonna revert.
Brig Bash. Okay,
we're gonna revert. Yeah, we're gonna revert Brig to launch Brig.
Launch Brig.
And then to finish it all off, we're gonna remove some shurikens. We're gonna bring him down to 20 shurikens.
We'll make it 21 because he launches in 3.
Yeah, okay, 21 shurikens for Genji, and we're gonna actually, you know what? We're gonna also up the timer for Tracer's recall.
2.
What is it now?
It's 12.
We're gonna get it up to 15.
15. Ooh, that's
so basically this is literally just Brig release patch, but with a Genji slap on the wrist and Tracer gets murdered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm gonna hold my rating off until we see what everyone else is.
I like that. I like that.
Sam, Ray, which one of you wants to volunteer to go next?
Do you want me to go next, Sam?
Ray, you have the floor, my friend.
Okay, so unlike Joker, I feel like some of these changes I'm putting are at least realistic and in the realm of possibility that it might actually happen. Some of them probably not, but I think they're at least the stuff he was saying. That stuff's not going to happen. We're not going back to that.
Yeah,
I think some of the stuff I had, there are chances of it happening. So first of all, Genji.
Yeah.
Plus 1 second to his dash cooldown.
Okay.
And then we're going to go and take a look at May. May's getting plus 10 damage to her icicles.
Ooh,
85 damage, I
Plus
think that makes
10.
them.
Yep.
that's brutal.
And then we're going to take a look at Tracer and damage going down by 0.5.
Oh, I got me my Joker arc already. Okay.
And then we're going to take a look at Cassidy.
Yeah.
And he is going to get 5 meters added to his fall off range.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a little generous.
And then we're going to take a look at Reinhardt, and he's going to get 15 damage added to his fire strike.
That makes it 115.
That's juicy.
I think. Okay.
And then Winston gets 2 seconds added to his jump cooldown.
Jump murder.
And then we're going to take a look at we're going to take a look at Mercy.
Yeah.
Mercy.
gets-
Oh no.
Mercy gets 5% added to the damage boost.
That's top.
And then finally, we have a couple of changes to Kiriko.
Yeah.
We got 10 healing added to Suzu,
Yeah.
plus minus 1 second cooldown on Swift Step.
Wow.
Wow.
I can see this patch happening.
I wanted to go with realistic, but also Spectron would hate this.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Sam, you're next up. Last up.
Okay.
What are you
All right,
feeling?
I'm going in the complete opposite direction of
Yes.
these two, right?
Yes.
So I'm going a little bit more grandiose. I'm also probably going to move away from the heroes. Personally, I think in Overwatch that there's not enough. You don't get a sense of pride and accomplishment in
Yeah.
playing the game anymore. So I elect to remove all heroes being made available for free,
Yeah. Okay.
and I also propose the returnal of loot boxes. You can put the heroes.
Yeah!
You put the heroes in the loot boxes.
Oh gosh, you gotta open as many loot boxes to earn your heroes? Oh
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Bring back loot boxes.
I find that this game is missing some really big gotcha elements. And I think Overwatch would do really well to take inspiration from games like Genshin Impact.
Oh no.
So we put our heroes inside of there. Imagine the sense of pride and accomplishment that you'll be feeling.
And we
when you
can get
that.
CGL sponsored by Overwatch, and we can get the CGL
We're cooking
hero.
here. We're cooking here. We're cooking here.
The CGL
We
hero.
can maybe get Aloy on Overwatch as well.
Yeah, exactly. So this would be perfect. And of course, we'll still have the battle passes.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think, adding a little bit more value once again to them, right? You get the loot boxes inside of there. In fact, the battle pass just becomes one big loot box, right? So you're cycling through them and hoping you don't really know what you're gonna get just yet. Now we can go over to the now we can go talk a little bit more about the heroes themselves. I propose that we should just remove ammo, right?
Okay.
Every hero should just be able to fire infinitely. I think that'd be fun. I think it would reward something. It'll reward something.
Yes.
Now, we move on to our next topic of discussion, and this is for me personally as Cassidy main. Now, Ray proposed, what was it, 5 meters?
5 meters to his fall off
Yeah,
range.
yeah.
I don't really think he needs one.
He doesn't-
Oh, no
fall
fall off
off.
range for
He doesn't
Cassidy?
need it. There's no damage fall off.
Dude.
Now, it's Cassidy main. That's just a biased opinion, but
Remember launch cast when that was basically a thing?
yeah, that's we're going back to the good old days for me
Yeah.
in my heart. Let me think. I'm trying to. So I was coming up with these on the fly. I didn't write anything down. Right. This is. I'm trying to get into the mind of a video game developer where you're not really thinking things. In case
Good
All right,
Lord.
Blizzard is no longer sponsoring us after that.
yeah, we just got our Overwatch stream rights revoked. I'm sorry, Game Devs. You do a lot of really good hard work out there. Now, again, we need to, I think, also take a look at the whole impact of the game as a whole, and I think that we should have a social rating, so to speak, for every player. Right?
No. So like different to the endorsement system. This is more like Blizzard will just kill you if you do something wrong.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
but it's like it's a rank system.
Yeah, so instead of like the competitive,
So
like,
you
you're
could be like, I am top 500 player,
Yeah.
but I am a bronze toxicity level. Or something.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly,
just a toxic
exactly.
person.
How about we just remove ranked in general and it just goes off of social ranking?
So
Let's
the
go.
nicer you are to people, the higher the ranks you climb, right? So if you start molding a little bit, Spectreon, right, you're gonna be back to bronze.
I see.
Um, Wait, how many changes have I done so far? 1, 2, 3, 4,
6.
6. I feel like I could squeeze one more in
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
somewhere along the lines. You know what? Just slap a jetpack on Reinhardt. Why not? It's my patch notes. I'm gonna
So
do it.
just make, so basically just make him Doctor Strange from Marvel Rivals. Got it.
Okay. I think it is time to rate these. Wait.
Yes.
Wait. Are we getting something from Hippie? Oh, what do you say?
Our producer is going to be
Calling in?
giving us a note. They're calling in.
Wait, I gotta indent this properly so everyone can see. Put it there. There we go. I'm terrible at typing, but there we go. So Sigma, increase max rock stun to 5 seconds. So if you get rocked, you are banished. You are sent to the Shadow Realm. Pass. Roll CD on kill reset. So you're like,
I like that.
you're like Beyblading if you hit a clip. PG montages are going to turn into a Sonic the Hedgehog fan movie. Bastion, replace ult with tank ult. That's just real of you. Do that anyway. Ramatra, re-add pre-release damage null debuff to enemy with ult. What you mean? So there's
Release. So he wants release damage or release.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
So
Okay, wow, that's bad. Okay, so firstly, let's get this here. So
Alright, I got them all ready.
Heavy wins. Whatever. What's Sam at? Okay, paywall tiers. This would be funny. This is a low mold rating for me, honestly, because also
take it.
you remember that I no life this game so much that I already had like 300 loot boxes lying around at any given time.
yeah, same.
So
I forgot
yeah,
to say
low
that
rating.
the hero percent chance was 0.1%.
That's
Did I mention
okay.
that?
That's okay.
Okay.
I had so many loot boxes.
We'll make it 0.01% there.
Yeah.
Or like 0.001.
What else have we got? I'll do Jokers. No, don't raise next. This one, honestly, I have nightmares about this. This might actually be the season 14 patch. High mold rating. You get 9 out of 10. Occasional uncreative changes, but all of these are so realistic that it would ruin my day.
Yes, that was the
Yeah,
idea
yeah,
was
yeah,
to
yeah.
make it as realistic as possible.
Yeah.
I know how to improve my patch now to make it
And then-
painful.
And then for Jokers, I've played this patch before. This is just Release Break. Release Break gives me terrible memories. But because I played it before, a lower mold rating. So the winner here is Too Tried Hard Ray, who has come up with a bunch of paper cuts to all the heroes that make this game worth playing.
Ray has given Spectreon extra blood pressure. That's beautiful. That's
I did
beautiful.
not need this.
I'm not very molding. I figured out what to do about my loot box situation though.
Oh, yeah.
To fix
See,
that.
I
To
just,
fix that.
see, the
free
thing was,
problem.
I thought about, okay, so Spectrum
This
likes Genji
video is
Tracer, and I'm like,
sponsored
what
by
goes good with Genji Tracer? Winston, make his jump worse.
Ooh, yeah.
Dude, that's so annoying. You have to play. Anyway.
I
Listen,
fig- I
we've got a
figured it
game
out.
to do. We've got a game to do. We should talk about our match, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Before anyone.
We should. Before we get any further, along with anything happening there. By the way, I would add keys to the loot box that you had to pay for.
Oh
Anyways.
yeah.
That would be good.
Thank God I'm a CS player as well.
Yeah, bring back CS:GO. Let's just get CS:GO style loot boxes.
Can we
as
get,
well.
yeah,
Yes.
can we get gambling in our Overwatch? That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that's what we need.
All right, Mauled Notes, congratulations to Ray. You know how to make Spectreon angry. Fortunately, I'm the dunce here for the evening. 3 out of 10. That's I gotta pump those numbers up. So back to our matchup though between mmmfghm and RRGJV, where unfortunately we don't have any pre-recorded interviews for this evening. So let's go ahead and take a look at the mmmfghm lineup to start things off with and get an idea of who we're gonna be watching out there on the battlefield. Ruby, good anime. Pizza Hut off, Elijah, Ready, and Boosty Oro. Boosty Oro? Yeah, am I saying that?
Yep. Okay, so obviously we've cast a Ruby a lot before, been very, very prevalent in the CGL season, a fantastic hit scan player. And what we've been seeing from them, I think this team, I guess you pronounce it, I've been playing a lot of Queen historically. So normally what you do with the Queen is you just play to live the initial Malga cycle, your DPS in theory find more value, and you win the longer fight, as well as having a really strong ult rotation, as I spoke about before. NRG using the Queen ult to cancel out pretty much every single raid that any opponents could pop. That's what we can maybe expect to see from mmmf. And by the way, Sam, I'm not going to have this debate now, but is Ruby an anime?
Yes.
I enjoy my Chungus life.
Yeah, yes, it is. no, he's right. It is an anime because it's on Crunchyroll.
Yeah. Look, another team as well. Let's bring him in.
I enjoy my Chungus life. Hey! Like Spectron said, though, RRG JV, where we have Rocket Bowser, King K, Virus, and Ew Pickles. Hey, Pickles aren't that bad.
Pickles are great. Screw that.
Pickles are great, yeah. Well, you know, Ray, that's a little biased, but, you know. Well, since you feel so passionate about this, let's get some words from you on RRG JV.
I mean, they've had a great season. I believe there are 2 or 3 losses on the entire season. But again, as we mentioned, this whole division has been extremely close and tight-knit. I mean, hopefully they can get their revenge from the mid-season because they've been in separate divisions, so they didn't play each other in the regular season. So limited supply of knowing your enemy, I guess, is the word. So this will be a very interesting one.
Ooh. I agree. Joker, any thoughts on these two teams?
It's gonna be a fun match. That's all I can really think about. I mean, I'm excited to see these two teams battle it out. See who lives to fight another day in a losers round 3 after this.
Yeah. So we got a lot of days coming up here and a lot more, again, Overwatch action, but our focus is for what's going on tonight. mmmfghm versus RRG JV. Now that we've seen both of the lineups, now that we've seen what the players have in store for us, it's time to talk about the desk predictions. Things are going to start getting really, really spicy. So, start things off on my end. Wait, copyright. But anyways,
no, it's not because we're.
Oh, we're doing it with. Let's stop right there before. I'm full screen right now, and I don't want people to see me. I don't want people to see me laugh. Sam talks. My prediction is going to be 3-0 for RRG JV. I'm believing in our collegiate superiority going on here. I believe that they are going to get the revenge matchup accomplished, and I believe that it is going to be done in a 3-0 fashion. Do I have any facts to back this up? No, because this is the internet.
Who needs facts?
I don't need facts.
You don't need facts or logic.
I do not believe. I should get that out here first and foremost. I am an agent of Big Warwick. Okay, they would not go with your puny NA teams. That's
Big Warwick, baby.
But no, in terms of my prediction, I went 3-0. In terms of last time they played, it was 3-1 in their favor. Watching some of RIG JV's matches, they can't seem to decide on a DPS line. I know I've been pretty much on the record before as being very heavily into this Echo Reaper camp. I think if you're not playing it, you're kind of trolling. And I think as well that playing Malga with no Echo Reaper into a Queen specifically, you've got all of the downsides and none of the upsides, right? The Queen is winning the ult rotation, but the Queen also finds it really easy to live the initial Malga cycle, and the Queen DPS are finding more value because Queen takes less resources than a Malga. So I don't really see an easy way in which RRGJV are going to find an edge here, which is why I decided to make this, like I said, 3-0.
The way better reasoning than whatever I came up with, Spectrum, which was perfect, by the way, so you automatically win that. Joker, you are next up on the desk for our predictions. So far, we have 3 zeros for each team. You gotta be here. You gotta come up and upset everything right now, buddy.
Well, I am, because I didn't know who to choose, so I went with a 3 and 2 for because they won the last time, but I really don't know how they're gonna play in this Malga meta, because I didn't do as much research as Spectron does, because he life's Overwatch.
True.
And yeah, so I just went with 3-2 because I was undecided, and I'll be happy with either team winning.
All right, we've got 2 in the camp of mmmfghm. 2 try hard, Ray. What's your opinion on how this matchup is going to shake up here?
Listen,
Oh,
we talked
I'm
about
listening.
this on EU this morning and last week. No, 2 weeks ago. I have turned over a new leaf. I am no longer a cowardly picker. Did I think this was probably a 3-1? Yes, but I am no coward no more. So I had to decide, do I go 3-2 or 3-0? And I decided to be in solidarity with Spectreon like we were earlier, and we were correct. So I went with 3-1. No, I'm just kidding. I did 3-0 inside of
Man, everybody is enjoying the Chungus life except for me. I'm putting all of my stocks into RRGJV, and I'm a little scared. Yeah, we got to see what the caster predictions are going to be. Maybe I have some backup here. Maybe they know something that the rest of you don't. And apparently I don't either, because again, my reasoning was based on vibes. So let's see if Hunter is going to pass the RRGJV vibe check, and Dexatron as well to go along with it. Starting off with Hunter, 3-2 RRGJV. So I'm no longer alone in the faith, but he believes that it's going to go to that full 5-map series along with Joker, whereas instead of mmmfghm winning, Hunter is saying that it's going to be the RRGJV victory.
Also,
And now for...
Doesn't
Oh.
Hunter also always predict a 5-map series?
No, 2 weeks ago, I got on him for predicting a 3-1, and he actually got it right with 3-1. It was very frustrating and annoying.
What a
Ray,
rat
we-
getting his guess right. I mean, wow.
No, it wasn't that he got it right. It was the fact that he diverged for the first time from always picking map 5s and then got it right.
The man just knew. He tore a page from the Megalast playbook and talked to the streets.
Talk to the streets, yeah.
Now, does Dexatron talk to the streets as well, or is he a deaf to the plight of our concrete victors out there? No, it's another RRGJV victory. Yet again, a 3-2 full 5-map
down the middle.
What
big
predictions?
banger series. So yes, like Ray said, we are split down the middle, and I have unfortunately aligned myself with our casters. So
That's tough for you, buddy.
yeah, tough for me, but I also feel kind of good at the same time because our desk, for some reason, is usually wrong. So
Yeah,
We weren't wrong this morning.
We were
I feel
all
like
right this morning.
I feel like Dio's dice are at a better accuracy rate than us for actually guessing. Genuinely, I feel like I'm the worst predator at CGL, and I don't know why.
I miss that guy. I miss that guy and his dice. I haven't had Geo on the desk in a very long time, and makes me very sad. One day though, we'll get him back over to the great shores of NA. Maybe we'll see. We have our casters on standby though. Let's go ahead and bring them up here and get some justifications for their 3-2ing of the RRGJV victory. So Hunter Tang, Dexatron, you guys need to get up here. Come on. What's going on here? We're waiting for you.
Chop chop.
There we go. Chop chop. Yeah. Hunter, 3-2.
Hi.
What's going on, dude?
Yeah.
Jack
Ray, I'm really
Frost.
happy you haven't forgotten about the past. I'm quite happy about that little change. We almost swapped over to 3-1, I'll be honest, just get into your skin, but I don't know. I gotta be the map 5 guy. I think it's gonna go the distance. There hasn't been a single map 5 so far in this bracket, which is a little crazy, all things considered. But if it's gonna happen, I think it's gonna happen here. I think it's gonna be a very back and forth game. But at the end of the day, I picked this team because their name is easier to pronounce.
mmmfghm isn't easy to pronounce. Hunter, I've been saying it all night, buddy.
I did my research, you know. Did the
Okay,
important
all right.
research today.
Did you talk to the streets?
You talked to the streets,
A little too much.
Oof.
Too much.
I'm worried about our casters.
Just a couple of police cars, you know, it's nothing insane. You know.
All right, hold on. Dexatron, what did you think of our patch notes game?
Well, I think Spec hit it on the head with almost everyone. Sam was kind of just not even talking about changing the game, other than just adding unnecessary stuff to it. Me and Hunter, we were just spitballing ones where you guys were doing it the entire time, so it was fun. We were objectively trying to make the game worse, not necessarily for Spec, but just worse.
Just in general.
Hey,
Yeah.
if you need to take a page from my playbook then if you want to make the game worse. Okay, more loot boxes, more money.
Hey, Sam, that doesn't make it worse. In
Just
some
sell
way,
the
in some weird
game.
way, that would actually get more people to play because gambling and they're addicts.
Hey,
Oh my god.
I'm looking at the Steam page right now. I'm saying Dexatron 3-2 though, buddy. You got your predictions for us.
Yeah, these are two really close teams when you look at them on paper. In my opinion, yeah, you can go back to the midseason tournament where these two teams faced off, and it was that came out on top. But I personally believe in the back half of the season, RRG JV has heavily improved, probably one of the most improved teams in this GM tier, even enough to beat their varsity team in the first round of this playoffs. I think they are going to be able to win here tonight in a very, very close one and get some revenge here.
See if revenge is going to be accomplished. We'll see if they are going to be able to do that, or if mmmfghm is going to send them packing and continue their way through the lower bracket. But hey, Hunter Tane, Dexatron, you two are casters for the evening, so I'm going to leave it all in your very capable hands for the mmmfghm versus RRG JV match. Good luck, you two.
Well, this is going to be a fantastic affair, isn't it, Dexatron?
Capable hands is one thing to say, but yeah.
I don't know if that's the term I would personally use in this situation, but if it's going to be in so many hands, it might as well be in ours. And the interesting tidbit that we both brought up is the fact that nobody gets the 3-1. We're either making this a quick night or we are going the entire distance, Dex, and it's going to be it could be one of those games. And to be honest, with these two teams, it almost very well should be one of those two kinds of games. And to start us off, Dexatron, we're going to the tried and true, perhaps the most infamous or more so famous map here in Overwatch. Going to start it off at Lijiang Tower.
And yeah, I mean, we talk about this map a lot. Like you said, it's infamous for a reason. I will always bring it up. This is the best warm-up map in the game if you have yet to play at all. But because me and you were behind the scenes there in the desk, we know one of these teams was definitely doing something for a while before getting into the lobby here. So they are probably both warmed up and ready to go. But Lijiang Tower in itself, you can play so many different compositions on it. Mauga is the go-to at the moment, but that doesn't mean at some other points throughout the series here tonight, especially on this map, we might see something a little bit different. Dive might come out, but if you're going to run dive, especially with the other team running that Mauga, you are going to have to put a heavy investment into shutting down the Mauga itself, because that Mauga will burn through anything that the dive tank has.
Yeah, 100%, especially if that ended up being something like a Winston. You can get away with it in a lot of instances if you are running the D.Va. Still, the D.Va's not going to be able to take care of that by themselves. If they have a Mauga, a Reaper, that's just staring them down in the face, that's not going to be enough. So it's also going to come back on these DPS to make the impact, because the tank, at the very most, in a lot of situations, is either going to have to buy time in the front line or just help with the engagement in the back line. But even then, Dex, you're investing a lot, and a Brig and a Juno can do a lot to defend themselves, but if a Mauga Reaper gets back there, that Brig is completely screwed.
Yeah, and that's one of the most difficult things right now with this entire competition itself. The Maugas can be running in, but as you see, yeah, there were a lot of subs that came in between the time that we actually announced the desk announced them to now. Lineups were still being settled. Sad coming in, Skittles, Forex, and Panda Bear for, I believe that is that's Inv. And RRG had 2 subs of their own coming in here, but looks like we'll be heading to, I believe, Gardens here first. So, I mean, this is pretty much that middle ground map for me. You can run dive, you can run rush, you can run brawl, you can run almost any kind of composition you want here. But because right now the Mauga is kind of go-to, that is what I expect to see from both sides. Would not be surprised if we see potentially maybe a cheeky little Pharah off the start to try to boop someone off and give your team a slight advantage. But this is not a shock for me when you look at the two sides. You see RRG, JV, and one quick thing, want to shout them out. I love seeing collegiate teams in here. They are from the University of Texas at San Antonio. Go Roadrunners. And so I love seeing them here, but that is kind of what we expect from them. Bowser on the Venture, though, is a little bit of an interesting pick, but I don't hate it, especially when you look at the other side. You might eventually have to make a swap if, say, SAG gets a little bit too strong in the sky. It's going to be really interesting, though, just to see how these two teams evolve and change their composition, change how they're playing throughout this entire first map. Because, like I said, you can see a lot of different compositions, especially on this first point in general.
Yeah, 100%. And with us being at the 1.1 second mark, I get the slight impression that said really is going to come out on that Pharah, and it could have a good impression, because the biggest thing is you look over and the person that can handle them the most realistically is going to be the Mauga. But I mean, the fact that you're running into another Mauga, your attention has to be kind of fully set. So Sad is going to have a great opportunity in this first fight to do a lot, is probably going to force Bowser to go over towards maybe the Echo, maybe the Sojourn, maybe the Ashe even in that situation. Because if the Pharah just starts taking over the lobby, then it can go down a spiral very quickly, as we're gonna get things set away in what might be the world's fastest pause. Actually, I guess we're technically not in, so whatever. We need to make an actual record book one of these days. There has to be records sitting down somewhere, right, Dex? Like it has to exist.
I mean, unless you wrote them, they're not written down here for CGL. But
no.
I mean, you talk about them making the swap over to something like an Ashe, something like an Echo. I don't think Echo would probably be the right pick here, because when you look at the other side, the only real dupe target would end up being the Mauga itself, and normally a lot of the times it doesn't really work out for you unless you're solely focusing on that backline support line for the other side. So I think something like a hit scan, like you said, the Soj, the Ashe would probably be the right thing to do here. But I mean, hey, gates are open. Sad, a little bit late to pick, but not necessarily a shock. Backlines and tanks the same. The DPS lines, though, that's gonna make a huge difference here. Rocket on that Reaper, though, I think will make the biggest difference of all. Just being able to chunk down Skittles Forks here is gonna help RGJV out a lot.
Yeah, and Skittles Force is gonna have to be a little more careful. So they're gonna go right in. The boop's gonna knock them back, but Broly's still alive for the time being. He's getting super low already, though. Already having a lot of impact is this team right now. And you see a lot of people already getting low, and we saw Bowser knocked 2 people off the cliff, if I'm not mistaken, to start us out here. And now JV gonna take that first fight win. And Dex, I am very certain that at least one person got taken off the side of the cliff.
I'm gonna say at least 2 right there. I mean, the Venture was the most kind of up in the air pick I had there for RG, but right there, Bowser showed why they can find a lot of value here, especially with a lot of the edges of this map being straight off death clips. It's gonna work out greatly here for them if they keep on playing around the edges, which is what RG wants to try to do, it seems, here, to allow Bowser to get so much attention there. Loreley is Holy, though, getting very low again here to start.
Ooh, yeah, and Bowser gonna be gone early is a bit disappointing, but right now, the cleanup is going to come very quickly here for to be able to clean things out. Going to get over to that 35% marker, make it 36 for good measure. But at the end of the day, ultimates are coming up online, and RGJV is way ahead on both the support ultimates.
Yeah, and that could be something they can immediately use coming right back in to just try to win a fight on their own here. But you look at here, they have their Barrage, they have a Cage, 2 great combo potential ultimates right there. You still have to be able to find something here. But Ruby making the swap over to the Cassie, you saw the impact it had there in that last engagement. They got off the Ashe, want to play a little bit closer with their team, and look, 1 life, and they're already 75% to a Deadeye, while RG, their two DPS, not even 75% to anything.
Yeah, you see rough situation there for the Brig. You do not want to be a Brig on this day. 2K there for Sad. And even though right now we have bodies on the point, RG is just kind of a really tough time surviving at this point. As a matter of fact, it's almost better to take the reset now as quick as you possibly can. But Rocket has found one and used the Death Blossom.
That is going to be one you want back there, Hunter. That was a huge mistake, especially with Broly as Holy coming up to their own cage. You could have just skated around the outside of the cage and got everyone that was inside of it there. That is something they're going to want back. It's coming back to bite them as well. You look at what mmmf has coming up here. They're about to have both their support ultimates. They have a Deadeye ready to go here as well. So 2 good zoning, 1 good zoning ultimate, and then 2 good ultimates just to win team fights on their own. RG, their ultimates, yeah, could be good, but you need to find a lot of value out of this cage now. This entire fight kind of hinges on it.
I mean, yeah, 100%. You need to find the right members, too. You need to get Ruby and Set on there if possible. You have the opportunity to be able to do so. They're going to go and aggro right now. It's eventually going to go and put it down.
Cage got canceled!
The dash comes through. What? How does that happen? But it's gone. It doesn't matter. It's eliminated. Now the Deadeye, it's going to leave them all in rough shape, getting everybody low. Bowser is going to try to bring it back right now. Has managed to find one and bring it the other way right now, but they need to find another right now. Misses the spin over onto Sad right now, so Sad is alive. He's going to have the Barrage. Has every ability to bring this fight back. He might not even need the Barrage to be able to do so. 97% and counting. About to hit on overtime, and Dex, it's all about the cleanup right now. The Reaper was back for a moment, but now Broly and Ill Pickle's the only ones remaining at this point. It is just going to be a slow trickle of touches until it will inevitably come to its end.
Yeah, and I mean, the Barrage there, just the icing on the cake. You're going to see just a trickle come in here from RGJV, but they're going to die 1 by 1 here. Ruby picking up the final. It is something that can happen very often, and it was something that I was surprised that Broly as Holy decided to even do, knowing that Rally was up in front of them there. You see the double drill off the edge right there. Bowser ended up losing their life as well, but the double drill is going to be the thing we talk about. But again, just the swaps they made here, especially Ruby going over to this caster, you saw the impact it had. It allowed them to play a little bit closer to their team and be able just to be the Deadeye that we know they are. RRG, that first map or that first point there was more about their mistakes than anything else. Found a lot of value with everything they had. All their ultimates ended up leading to team fight wins. RRG, their ultimate usage was not in the best of opportunities. They were already in fights that were very much lost, or just straight up you were questioning why they even decided to put it out there, like Rocket's Death Blossom. Now though, you see make the swap, Ruby going over to the Soj here. Broly is holy again.
And Ruby's got a 2K already, just to start the round, because why not? And at this point, they got the point very secure right now. And now you start to think about if you need to change anything right here, because I don't think the Reaper and the Venture in this case are bad, but I think specifically going into the Pharah, it's been really rough to get rid of Sad right now. Sad has just lived throughout almost every single fight in that first round.
Yeah, and like you said, Broly's Holy might be one of the only ones that can really focus up on them. And I mean, you're already down this fight. You're already, basically, this fight's over. At this point, if you're RRG, this is the moment where you say, okay, time to make some wholesale changes on our DPS line here because it's not working anymore. Rocket's not finding the value on the Reaper. Bowser, I mean, outside the double dash, double drill kill, hasn't really done anything on this Venture, so you have to be considering some swaps here. And, I mean, you talked about Sad. They haven't died yet. No one's been able to even pressure them in the sky, and they're finding so much value because of it.
Yeah, and now Bowser's going to go over to the Reaper and Rocket over, so obviously over on that Sojourn. It's going to be different, and it realistically should work better, but the problem is, this barrage is around the corner right now. Nothing can realistically stop it from going down, so Sad just needs to wonder how they want to balance out using it in this situation, as right now you can see everyone kind of coming together right now on this RRG squad. Getting ready at the moment, but instead we're going to see the aggression from in this situation, both moving in, trying to find somebody, but instead you're going to see the turnaround here. The Malga's going face-to-face right now, but unfortunately trying to burn away Bowser right now, but nobody. Dex wants to go down in this situation, but Ruby maybe forcing a couple. They got one right now, and everybody forced into a corner. The slam down as Rocket going to barely be able to escape momentarily. That's going to be another good fight win right there. Sad we'll live to see another fight, and with 4 ultimates on the line, it is going to be a rough road to beat them on this fight.
And you look what RG is doing here. They're finally making some swaps. Rocket went over to the Soj. Bowser decided to take the Reaper that Rocket gave up here. And this is something that you need. I like this comp a little bit better than having the Venture, but you still need to start finding some value now. You're coming up to 3, 4 ultimates, but guess what? Is waiting for it, especially Sad, who's waiting for the barrage opportunity, and Skittleforks has that cage ready to go, so you know there's that combo waiting to go.
Yeah, right now, going to bring them in right now. Rough situation. Is thinking about the barrage. Has found one, but all those kills coming through. Doesn't matter. It's already a 2K again. Rose helping to clean up, and now the touches are coming online. It's the Reaper on the point. 1 direct, 2 direct. Needs the 3rd, and unfortunately for Bowser, they're not going to be able to pick up the win, and that means that is a quick first map here for to clean things up. And Sad putting on display. I bet they went like 30-0.
I mean, we know they didn't die, so they did the 1 life challenge throughout an entire map right there. Bowser getting play of the game, but it doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, outside of what this will probably be of the double dash kill, we have to talk about what value that they really found on the Venture and making any swaps here. This DPS line for RG, I mean, I talked about them coming into the series being one of the most improved teams in the back half of the season, but you're seeing right now they were very, very slow to make any changes. Sad found so much value that they didn't need to really do anything. Like, they didn't have to play safe. They didn't have to play, back with their team. They could play aggressively, knowing they weren't going to get punished out here. RG eventually made swaps, but it was a little bit too late for them to really do anything. This was a great start here for, especially as RG. I mean, they got the first cap and then never got it back after that.
Yeah, I realized they got stopped by the Malga because they got stunned and then they used it. I don't know if I've ever seen a Malga stop another Malga from using the ult before. That's a first for me. That's genuinely a first. But the other thing to kind of bring up is some teams have one of those moments where they struggle against a very specific character. And honestly, this could be a situation where they're struggling very hard against the Pharah, because obviously a lot of these teams that are scrimming, they're running the Reaper, the Sojourn, the Echo. That's what they're running a lot of the time. Not everybody's trying to run this Pharah. In fact, it's a rare strategy that we've seen brought up over in the OWCS finals that came up from Twisted Minds, and a couple teams have kind of adapted towards it and let it happen. And as we see, it's gonna be a 26-0. That is, oh boy.
Ready never died either.
Yeah, serious? That's wow.
Ready never died. I mean, like, you're just seeing how good of a team this team is. I mean, Ruby and Rose died 3 times, but the rest of their team did enough throughout that entire map there to really carry them through it. And you just look at pure damage numbers now here. Skittles Forks did an incredible job, especially when you compare it to Broly is Holy there. I mean, you see the difference, and we talk about a lot, especially in this meta on the Malgas. You have to be doing a lot, and you see them there, almost over 6,000 damage difference. You see the damage taken by Broly is Holy, but it doesn't really surprise you considering they died a lot more often. Weapon accuracy basically the same, but look at that next stat there, Hunter. Eliminations per 10. That is 6 times the amount, or a little bit under 6 times the amount there for Skittles Forks when you compare to Broly.
Yeah, the only comparable stat in here by any kind of metric is weapon accuracy, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean diddly squat when the other numbers are as much of a disparity as they are. And of course, that deaths per 10 minutes, I mean, it's a 10 times difference in that sense.
Yeah.
It's not the cleanest thing in the world. It is rough. It is a rough start, but that's the beautiful thing about First 3, beautiful thing about the playoffs, is it's not over after one map. You get an opportunity to pick the map and the mode you want to go to, which means you could turn this on its head if you really wanted to. You could take it to somewhere pretty much immediately where you feel like you can come away with a really confident win and kind of bring this series back. But the question becomes, what do you go to in this situation? Because you could go over towards dive to get out of the Malga situation, but I think your biggest concern is honestly right now sad on this far. They seem to be doing a lot in that situation.
And I mean, here's the thing. You go over something like a dive, but you bring up the right point there. SAD is a big problem, but at the same point, if you focus a lot on trying to shut down SAD, that's going to allow Ruby to pop off. That DPS line is incredibly scary because either one of them has a huge pop-off potential. But, Hunter, you know what our second map of the night will be here? And you are right. They are going to bring us to a dive map here. And we're going to be heading to Hollywood. Again, this is a dive map on points 1 and 2. Point 3, though, is where you could see it change back to what we kind of saw on map 1. And if you're RRG, you're really hoping that your dive comp is able to stop this team before you get to that point 3 push. But I mean, RRG, they started off pretty good last map and then went downhill from there. They just need to show us a couple fights in a row here that they can win against this squad, because right now you have to imagine is feeling very, very good about themselves.
I mean, you have to after a display like that, especially managing to make that second round go 100-0 in that sense. Pretty much never giving an opportunity for RRG to really get into a fight in that situation. It's going to be something that's going to have to be seen in the situation because realistically, D.Va's going to be the most likely tank to come out here in the situation. I think the Malga is still very possible to run, but we're going to have to see right now because we do have substitutes coming in. King K going to go over from the support over onto the tank like they originally were set, and then Thanatos going to be over on the support. So in this situation, it could be a thing right now. Again, we didn't have quite everybody ready to go at that time. So we're to see if RG can be at full strength here, make something happen over on the D.Va composition. Because again, I think the D.Va style is the most likely here, but I have seen teams run the Malga quite a bit over here on Hollywood. If you want to run it, you can make it work.
Yeah, you absolutely can. I mean, that's the case on any map, especially if you're really, really good with the comp. It doesn't matter if the map is focused on dive or brawl. You can make any comp work well on any map if you're really, really good at it. And right now, if you're... I would just stick with the Malga until RG can prove the shot down consistently. Then you make the swap over to something else. You might come out here on dive, but you might immediately see that pocket pick come back out for them on this in this case. But if you're RG, this needs to be a map where you bounce back because, I mean, other than the first fight where you got a huge play from one of your players, you really did not look to be in the same time zone in that last map. You need to be able to find some value here early on. You need to take a quick team fight win, even take the first point. If you're going to be attacking here first, you need to just be able to kind of show that you're going to be able to go up against this team consistently throughout. And I mean, look, coming out the gate here, no big shock for me on the side of RG. The tank D.Va, and then Bowser's still on this venture. It's a very interesting pick. Might be a little bit of a comfort pick for them, but I don't hate it, especially able to find the value. You look at though, Skittle Forks on the Winston, a very, very good Winston, but Ruby back on that Widow. Hunter, me and you in the past have seen what Ruby's able to do on that Widow. If you give them time, if you give them space, they are going to be finding not one, but multiple headshots.
Yeah, if you've ever watched that highlight video at the beginning of all of our matches here, I mean, Ruby makes a bit of a display on there, and clearly that's a perfect track record of being able to do this right now. But a TP out just get everybody a little further forward right now. So this is going to be very interesting because no one's in a great... Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%. It's not easy to headshot a Tifa, but either way, it's going to be hard to see who's going to be able to take care of Ruby in this situation. Realistically, I was going to say, it's going to have to be Rocket in this situation. No
I
way.
mean, hey, like I said, if you're RRG, you need a quick team fight win, and guess what you're getting here?
Yeah.
A quick team fight win. Rose will find Rocket, but you need to dive back right now if you're QK, just to make sure you stay alive.
Yeah, it's going to be that kind of situation here right now. And in this situation, you're going to see the D.Va come back on the other side. Just going to see the match here from Oomph in this situation. And I like it. It's a better choice in this retrospect right now. Thanatos sitting at 9 health, barely gets away right now. But we see in the background right now, eventually got the recall very quickly from Sad. But Skillforce thinks they can come away with something right here. They get super low and will end up getting knocked out of the map. But there's still a fight going on near that point right now. Seeing if they can find any presence. Right now, they're just hoping to keep the D-Mech alive. Unfortunately, it will not. So that's going to be a reset there. Once again, for...
And again, this is exactly what RRG needed. They needed a couple team fights in a row here. Team fight victories. They really needed... Oh my goodness! Oh, that's painful. That's painful because this allows them to come right back in very, very quickly. Knowing the Venture's gone, that's a lot of frontline pressure, a lot of knockback potential. That's out of the gate immediately.
Yeah, you need to consider giving up a tick here in this situation and just taking a whole reset because Kincaid basically just got themselves taken care of. They're going to bomb. They're unlikely to live in this situation, but somehow Bowser has gotten rid of 2. They're hoping to find a 3rd right now, but at the very least, the job has been taken care of, but they will be taken out once again. So for RG, it's another opportunity to reset, and that's 2 minutes gone. Just 2 minutes left on the board.
Yeah, and Bowser coming in those 2 picks was huge because it allows Kincaid to get back into their mech here, allows RRG to keep this contest up a little bit. But you look at move coming up here, they're about to have a lot of their ultimates. Ready making the swap here over to the Juno, so they're not going to have a Orbital Ray here probably until final fight potentially on this final point. But RRG JV in a really, really great spot right now, but you really need to keep Thanatos alive.
Yeah, and Pickles is going to go down. The rally is going to be used, and right now Thanatos just fighting for the life. And now with no sports on board in the situation, it's a tough one for RRG. Rocket want to focus on staying alive. Pulse Bomb comes out. Not going to find any targets, unfortunately. And now this could be on the back of Bowser, and they are going to go for clearing the path right now, giving more and more room for this team to operate because we haven't even had a ticket, but Bowser, unfortunately, doesn't manage to stay alive long enough, and Rocket isn't going to stay alive either, and at this point, it's Nano or it's nothing, and with that DM in their face, with everybody dogpiling onto Kincaid, it's going to fall apart from here. And at this point, we might see 1 D-Mech away right now from making this happen.
Rally.
But Dex, I mean, yeah, they're doing a great job of keeping them up.
Well, Kincaid needs to get back towards that rally to make sure they stay alive. But again, time and space is all Ruby needs.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like it might finally be falling apart. They're going to back up a little bit here because people are getting back, and Bowser is going to get taken out again in this situation. And this, I mean, they're just dying so early in a lot of these fights.
I mean, yeah, at this point, right now, it will be coming out on top. Rocket can stall out this point as long as they possibly can here, but they will eventually fall. But RRG, this is exactly the kind of point they need. Yeah, they wanted to probably, full hold on the first point, give themselves the best chance to win this map, but you got it really, really close to overtime there, and I think that is a huge kind of sign here for the rest of this map, and potentially this series. They needed some momentum going their way, and the only reason Oomph really won that fight was because they invested so much into it there, and they got early picks like that. That also kind of helped them in the end there, where RRG was dying, kind of staggering themselves back in one after another. Right now, if you're RRG, you need to quickly regroup the entire team and then re-engage as a whole squad.
Right now, one after very lucky that Ruby swapped over from the left to the right in that moment that they just walked blatantly through right now. Kind of, honestly, teasing somebody who you really shouldn't be teasing at this point, Dex. But at the very least, look at the rotation. Gonna put some pressure over on the Brig. Rose is eventually gonna see all the backup coming back their way to keep them alive. But now the rally is gonna be used in exchange, and we're gonna see Bowser go down first once again in this fight. So now it's gonna be a tough one right now for Rocket to pull back alone. Unfortunately, they're not gonna be able to do so. And now, Dex, it's gonna be another clean-up fight right now for this RRG. They have something brilliant going, but now, I mean, the enemy's just, moving up on them, aggressively now.
Yeah, and if you're RG right there, you either need to die on the cart or figure out some way to get out of that fight as fast as you could, because those two right there, especially Thanatos dying, really slows down your re-engage here. You might have to go up point B now.
Yeah, they're gonna get the retouch right now. We're gonna see the original touch, but go back down. 3 meters remaining. Cannot get off of that for long right now. KK is gonna have a bomb that's somehow gonna float up in a very weird direction. It will cause Umbrella to go down the situation, so giving them the best chance of winning a fight in a good little while in the situation. 44, the spawn is closer. KK though is super close to going down. It's just Thanatos with the heals, and now it's gonna come down to the back of Bowser in this situation. He's gonna have this ult ready to go, and they're gonna pull the trigger right now. Got a lot of people getting low. Bomb is gonna be online right now. Bowser needs to survive, unfortunately. They're to drill into the wrong place, and now at this point, at the very least, it's just Skittle4 hanging around right now. You see a little bit of fun going on from Ruby, but this is a really unfortunate situation.
And, I mean, Ruby coming back and gonna be able to find one. I mean, both these teams doing a really good job. But RG, you have these closer spawns, but again, Ruby is gonna be a problem here.
Yeah, Il Pickles decides, fine, I'll do it myself, and goes in on their own accord. But Thanatos is coming back right now. You're going to have this ult around the corner, but Body's got to stay on. This isn't optional at this point. You need to stay on this point, and Thanatos needs to get this ult right now. Sitting at 98, is going to have it online, but King K is so close to getting knocked out of the mech, but it looks like the build survived momentarily and forced everybody out. We'll see a little bit of reach, but Rose has gone down. Umbrella is going to follow directly afterwards, and now there's 5 seconds on the board. And now it's all about getting a touch and trying to keep this alive, but Dex, it is going to be swimming up the creek without a paddle right now, trying to find touch after touch, but right now it is complete desperation mode.
But you're seeing him come back in here really quickly. They're going to be able to play really quickly up on the high ground. You see Ruby and Bowser going at it. A huge pick right there if Ruby's able, or Bowser's able to find them.
Yeah, would you find one pick right now? Pickles ends up going down. I mean, the bomb is just finding everything. It's finding something all the time, but it's a 3v3. Again, spawns are going to favor. Bomb going to be thrown up in the air. Going to clear out space momentarily. Going to see the remech take Skittle4 down to super low health. Will knock them out of the mech, and now it's down to Sad to come back in here, make something happen right now because the D-mech is not going to last for very long, but Skittle4 has still managed to find one. Their team is coming back for the beat online. He's going to keep Pickles and Rocket along a little while longer right now as Ruby has made their way back onto the point, nearly gets off of it. Almost gave it up right now with Pickles. Gonna get the 2K poop at the end there to clear things away, and that is the hold you are looking for if you're RRG.
Yeah, and what I say about this map here, the first 2 points are really, really dive-heavy points. That third point kind of goes back to what we were looking at or seeing back on Lijiang Tower, where it was all just kind of dominating there. RRG needed to stop this cart there to give them a huge chance at winning because King K looked incredible on the Diva, opened up a lot. Bowser on this venture, again, kind of the most controversial pick here, but you're seeing them find value. The biggest problem is it seems like they also have a problem going too far in and not having the tools to get out in a lot of cases there. We saw them dying first a lot there, but if they can clean that up a little bit, this should be a map for RRG. However, like I said throughout that entire round there, if you give Ruby the time and the space, they're going to be able to help their team a lot here, and we saw them do just that.
Oh my God.
That step right there, it caught Bowser, it caught Skittle4 out as well there. It's not, I mean, it's there, but it's normally something you never really have to deal with. But right now, I mean, if you're RRG, what was the biggest thing we were really talking about them going into that last round there? We just need to see some consistency from them, and that's what we got there. Look, King K coming in there, 2 deaths. That is a huge thing. Probably the main reason why that they stopped the cart there before point 2. And they're even going very good head-to-head against Umfim. Remember, Sad and Ready died 0 times last map. They're already way above that this map here. So I like what RG's doing here, and especially with how Umf's coming out here on defense with the Torb. If you can get rid of the turret very early on, it's going to allow someone like Rocket to just dominate that backline.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping we can kind of see some of that survivability from Bowser. Unfortunately, kind of suffered a couple of early fates in a lot of these matchups right now. Close to having another, but is going to get the support of their team to keep him up. And it's Ruby who's going to get shut down first and foremost. And now Stampy could be coming through right now. Everybody getting forced back. Rough situation, and Bowsy has come online right now. Going to go in, get another, and now it's just a cleanup. This is an unbelievably fast take here for RRGJV right now. And now, this means they're going to have, what, like 5.5 minutes to push that 117 meters.
They're going to have the most amount of time you can possibly have, basically, here. 5 minutes, 38 seconds. And, I mean, we talked about here, you get rid of Ruby pretty early on. It's going to help them out a lot because Ruby, I mean, they're a Deadeye. It doesn't matter what character they're playing. They're going to be able to find that headshot hitbox and just chunk you down shot by shot there. And I love how Bowser's playing this, but again, it leads to a lot of their deaths. Most deaths in the lobby at the moment.
Ooh, yeah. Nearly gets another one right there. Is getting chased still right now. Sitting at 1. Eventually, Good of Force will be the one to take them down. Unfortunate situation, but right side is the cart is still kind of slowly moving along right now, and there's no big incentive to push on it if your name isn't Skittles Forks.
Yeah, and I mean, you see Skittles Forks, you see Sad up there probably just, firing some shots in there. That dive up there from King K just to try to disrupt that up high ground a little bit. But, I mean, right now, if you're RRG, you just need to find that opening pick to kind of get the ball rolling here again.
Yeah, 100% right
now. Oh,
that's
not
that's
it.
Good. I was going to say, let's see if it's going to have some effectiveness. No, it did not, unfortunately. And now, Sadis is waiting for the opportunity to go ham on that drop right now. Is wondering whether or not they want to drop down, kind of debating right now. But what we know is it is stopping the guard from making a whole lot of progress. It is moving a little bit here and there, and that's fantastic. But right now, Skittles is just dropping down when it gets too active. But right now, we're going to see that double boop away right now. But King K is still up there. Still going to have the bomb ready. The nail's going to help them a lot. But the bomb's going to go up in the air and is going to clear away the high ground right now. Doesn't get anybody, but they are going to be able to keep their life in this situation. Cart has now moved to the 70-meter marker. So even though you've lost the fight, you have gained some distance here.
I mean, you really haven't lost the fight. This is a very kind of hectic fight. Okay, now you've lost the fight. You've lost the fight now. That's the point. It's been a very hectic fight, and it's the point where Umfu is perfectly fine with the RG pushing the car up that far, because even you look at the time bank, you look at the distance, the further that RG pushes up here and the more fights Umfu wins, it's going to be harder for them to get back. And again, Bowser going to end up falling here. Like I said, their aggressive playstyle does come back to bite them pretty heavily, but you look at what Umfu has here. 4 ultimates ready to go. RG only really going to have 3, but none of them are really fight-winning ultimates here, unless Rocket finds a double pulse bomb somehow.
Yeah, it's something you really have to kind of see in this situation. And it's really unfortunate as well, because is going to have 4 different ultimates going into this fight. It's definitely a big disadvantage right now for RGJD going into this, but they're going to go on the aggressiveness right now. Doubling down, Bob's going to get thrown in, and it's pretty much going to stop that push right then and there. You pretty much have to give up entirely on pushing that.
I mean, you're going to try pushing it since that high ground fight's still going on, but now as everyone falls down, yeah, the fight's on.
Yeah, it's going right now. Bowser already getting taken care of right now, and you just give a little care for King K in this situation right now, and it's starting to get a little concerning in the situation because they're taking it along slowly and surely, but now going to be a let death there onto King K, and right now they have no obligation to kill them.
Yeah, and I mean, RRG, that's a very costly fight for them. They invested Pulse Bomb, they invested Orbital Ray, and it just didn't find anything there. And yeah, used a lot of ultimates as well, but they came out on top, so it doesn't necessarily matter. You would love to have some of them back, probably the Bob most of all. But you look at what they have. They have the bomb. They're about to have another Molten Core. That time bank now cut in half, halfway to, or about a little over halfway to the point here. RRG has kind of been Stonewall here now, and ooh, Ruby again. You give them the time, you give them the space, they will make you pay.
Yeah, this is already kind of a losing fight scenario. I would really love to see Bowser try to get this cart rolling along right now, because they're the one person who has to do it. Like, you need to eventually put some pressure on, because right now they're hoping for the dive, but I'd be prioritizing the cart right now, because you can't take a fight right now.
You really can't, but the elevator is definitely a loud thing that will let mmmfghm know you're coming up there. But again, you're losing. You're trying to play this very split. You need to play it as a whole unit here. And RG might just be trying to build up to ultimates at this point. But guess what? All these fights, you're just allowing mmmfghm to get up to ultimates as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at 5.5 minutes, gone to 1:40. Like, that's a lot of time that has been spent getting next to no distance whatsoever. Like, that is a lot of time. 4 minutes is what you originally get in the time bank, and now you've blown that to smithereens, and now you're entering desperation mode where you are going to have to win back-to-back fights if you want to win this. And if they get, like, full ulted on, they're under no obligation to ult all the way back.
Yeah, and right now, Rocket on this Widow, the best thing that they could do is find a pick. Just find a pick. It would give their team so much more momentum. It would give their team a lot of confidence to play very aggressively. The Molten Core's out here from Sad. Gonna slow them down a little bit, but I'm kidding. I'm gonna say it so much. Ruby, time, space, gonna lead to a kill.
Yeah, and Sad gets a 3K to their name on top of that, and now it's the must-win back-to-back fights in the situation. They're gonna have all 5 ultimates around the corner, but Oof is going to have 4 ultimates around the corner, and arguably they're going to be just as strong, just as effective, and actually Rocket is going to forfeit theirs entirely to go over to the Genji instead.
I don't hate it. They need to have some pressure, and they need to have a get-out tool. Deflect will be able to do that just a little bit here, but you need to find a pick now if you're RG. I think you've gone now the last 3 fights without finding a single pick, and look, Ufu has not felt pressure to use any ultimates. They're about to have 4. And this is final fight here now with how far this card's being pushed. Bob already out. RG's got to start investing in their ultimates as well.
Yeah, they need to go right now. You see right now, you see Kincaid trying to burn away the bomb. That's not going to happen right now. Thanatos is getting low. Bomb. He's going to buy a little bit of space. Going to force everybody around into different areas. But right now, the turret is doing a lot of work. And it's honestly just slowly trying to wait Bowser right now. And now, with this cleaning things up, there's a bomb hanging around. It's going to force bodies around. A retouch is going to come through. But unfortunately, it's another situation of having such an amazing start and then just falling apart. 5.5 minutes. Just result in 83 meters, and that will not result as a win, as is already going to be on match point.
Yeah, I mean, it's the... You said it right. It's just another very fast start for RGJV, and it gives us a lot of confidence because it looks like they have a plan for the fight. But then after it, you see a one little swap from here, and it just all goes their way, and it was just a very split fight. We saw multiple split fights, one after another there for RRG in that entire round, and it just didn't work out for them. They needed to try to play as a team, but there was always one thing that was stopping them. Whether it be Ruby landing shots, Sad finding a lot of value there on the Torb, or just that support line doing enough in every fight to make sure that everyone on their team didn't need to worry about what was going on. I mean, RRG, again, it just goes back to the thing that I talked about at the end of map 1. The mistakes hurt them on map 1. The mistakes really hurt them here on map 2 because, I mean, they were just doing the same thing over and over and over again and hoping for a different result. And Hunter, you know that's the definition of insanity.
I know it very, very well. And yeah, seriously, it's these massive mistakes that are just coming through that at times we see the way they should be playing and they play it brilliantly. Look at that very first fight when we were over there on that first point. They went through and they cleaned things up brilliantly and had an amazing start, and it went down the drain. And again, I hate to keep harping on the deaths, but Bowser going 16 and 15, I mean, that's not something you can do. You can't have a DPS who is dying literally every single fight.
Yeah, you can't, but there are points that map where I was kind of praising Bowser for how they were playing. The aggressive playstyle was working at times, but we started getting to that point where they were doing the same thing over and over and over again. And you have to imagine that understood what they were trying to do. They learned the pattern. They knew what to do. You see the problem there. That DPS line dying a combined 26 times, and I'm trying to do the very, very quick math in my head right now for the entire side of 11, 14, 22, 27 times is the entirety of there. So the DPS died one less time than the entirety of the enemy team.
Which is, that's an unfortunate kind of situation right there. But either way, I mean, still, we had good performances from both of these DPS. Specifically, I like looking at Rocket and Ruby. The situation Ruby was obviously very much battle-tested, and his stats really show it in this situation right now. All the stats kind of above right now doing that job, having about an extra 3,000 damage done per second added on there. It's taking much less damage, and again, is dying way less, which seems to be kind of the biggest name in the game right now when it comes to the DPS.
Yeah, and you have to remember the characters that Rocket and Ruby were playing. Ruby was the hit scan. They were playing Widow and they were playing Ashe, and man, were they doing good on both of them there. Ruby was finding picks where, honestly, the fight was over, and you saw just RGJV trying to play maybe a little bit aggressive, getting set up for the next one, and just walking straight into Ruby's line of sight and getting domed. I mean, it's just, again, the small mistakes slowly adding up throughout the entirety of a map right there. Rocket, I mean, they tried to match Ruby there towards the end, going up to a Widow of their own, but I just think that was the worst thing they could have done there. Mirroring the Ashe would have been the right kind of play, because getting that Bob is so pivotal. And you saw it there. Bombs were being thrown out there by the tank from RG to just try to get them off the high ground, get them on even playing ground, but it just never really worked out for them.
Yeah, I don't hate the idea if you realize what you're going to do when they split up, because, I mean, the fact of the matter that when you have a Venture in that situation, you can commit to making plays with that. Like, hey, I'm going to throw this bomb, and if this person separates, we can jump on them then. Because you could still send a 2-person unit to go in and take care of them. That's 100% an option. But it's about that coordination. It's all about doing things together right now. And RG, JV have shown the ability to be able to do so, but now Dex, they're going to have to do it back to back to back if they want to keep themselves alive. So we're going to cut it to a little break here. So you got to stick around, because it'll be map 3, perhaps the last one of the series, but we're going to see if RRGJV can try to work in the reverse sweep.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours. Got lots of love. Love. 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 Got lots of love. Love.
What should have possibly been a back and forth affair is quickly turning into a nightmare here today for RRG JV, who's potentially just one more map away from being knocked out here in the tournament here in the NAGM tier in Dexatron. We have seen moments of brilliance right now from the squad, but Oomph has been coming in very aggressively, has been playing their game, and on the back of these DPS, and really on these supports of keeping everybody up, that are just making this really hard for RRJ to really do anything in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, you could go back and look at Hollywood as the map right there. And, I mean, RGJV's defense looked incredible. Yeah, they gave up first point, but they held on second. And it was a point where we were kind of both saying, like, hey, they're finally getting this series under them. They know what they have to do to shut down this team. Then they came out and steamrolled on the first point of attack. And I was like, okay, they figured it out. They know what they need to do. Yeah. 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Of running their head into the wall over and over and over again. I mean, it's just the slight mistakes that we talked about in map 1 that hurt them, coming back to hurt them in map 2. It's something that is easily fixable here. And with the series and now their season, with their backs against the wall, that change is gonna have to come now. And they have decided what the next map will be here. Hunter, we're heading to Hanaoka here for a clash map, potential final map of the series here between these two. What do you think of the pick?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't want my final map in a tournament to be Clash, personally. But they have to be going on here for a specific reason. My reason isn't a deep one by any means. It's just they want to make this as straightforward as possible. This is probably the next closest thing to control when it comes to this is very much clear what has to happen. Everybody's going to go into these points. It's very clear when you have the advantage and when you don't have the advantage of the situation. So with everything in mind, I think they just try to bring back tried and true, bring back the Malga. Just, you can keep the Venture, but it's all about just playing aggressively and going in together, because at this point, they are good at going in, but it's not really about going in together and doing their thing. So I'm hoping it happens, and with the swaps that have come through, Dex, it's looking like we're back in a map 1 situation right now.
Yeah, some subs here. Broly's Holy's coming back in. King Q is going over to support. Thanatos going over to DPS. The only one that's going out here is Rocket. I mean, this is something that we kind of saw during the break, and this is a very flexible team we know in RRG, but you have to be making these moves here to try to keep your season alive. And Broly's Holy did a good job, in my opinion, on that first map into a very, very tough situation. And we talked about a little bit sad, just kind of dominating the playing field on that far, because no one was really able to give them any sort of pressure. We might be seeing the same thing here again, but you might be seeing these swaps here so that you have a little bit of pressure. But coming out of the gates, or just what we're seeing so far, I mean, Thanatos on the Mei, it's not a terrible pick, in my opinion, but it immediately kind of gets counted out when you look to the other side. You see the Bastion there. You see him ready on a Moira. Rose on... we're going to see those characters swap. I would not be surprised if Ruby swaps over as well, but Skittlefork's going over to the Sigma. I don't hate it. I mean, it is kind of playing here down one man at the moment.
Do they know? Do they lack the critical information?
This is a very interesting situation here.
I'm just waiting for the
But I mean, right now Ruby on this Bastion again is gonna be able to do so much damage to Broly is Holy, and you have him ready there on the Baptiste, gonna be able to throw that immortality field down just to keep them alive throughout this initial first charge, probably.
Yeah, right now you're putting a little bit of pressure on this card, as they will be able to. Right now, you want to take that up and give some pressure to Oomph in this situation. You don't want to give them the free reign to take their complete time here. You want them to hold pressure to go to the point right now, because things like that is going to happen. I'm ready to get taken care of. Skittleforce is hanging around, but Ruby with an excellent cleanup right there, but might be a little too late right now as they get off the point to kind of push up and try to take care of something, but it's halfway through Index at this point. It is a risk to go in here and force a touch.
And look, you see make the swaps back over to the Malga themselves. Sad going to be able to get in there, but that's not an exit anymore. Coming back in, though.
That's a choice right now. If they can keep Broly up, I mean, things will be completely fine at this point right now. Yes, Ruby is coming back. He's going to be able to do a lot. Bowser's in a rough situation, and Thanatos is currently buried and is currently potentially about to get the death sentence, and that will be the case. And this retouch... This retouch could be playing off right now. Rose wants to go all in, but Ruby has been taking care of him. Bowser is going to be the one to clean things up for the squad. Skittleforce does not have that cardiac overdrive left, so they're going to be taken care of, and now, finally, going to be able to clean things up and take it away.
But here's the thing, Hunter. what have we seen every map from RRG? A great start, an incredible start. Not as fast as the other two, but hey, they got everything they wanted in that engagement. Both the rallies came out. You're coming into this next engagement with ultimates. Yeah, Ruby has their artillery barrage coming out here, but at the same time, it's going to be something where RRG does have the slight advantage, but they have to be consistent here now. Remember, they've started off fast in the past, but it has always come back to bite them.
Yeah, and right now we're seeing the cage fight come in, and that is a deadly combination, but somehow nobody goes down, and in fact, it's the other side of things. It's that is going down in the situation, and now Ruby sitting in the middle of everywhere, having their last stand moment. It is not going to work, and now RRGJV looking like they are posed to make this 2-0, and now, Dex, the question is, what is the choice you make here?
I think you go fight on point E. You try to grab some ultimates out of who has, 3 coming up online here. And the moment you start seeing some ultimates come out from them, you back up, give them the point, and then fight for point D again. But if you can find an early pick here, which RG has been doing great at so far, hey, you fight on it here. You have 2 good ultimates coming up here. The Blizzard might be able to win you something on its own.
Oh, no. Not a good day to be sad right now, as they are getting all the care in the world right now. And eventually you're going to see the cage fight, going to see the Death Blossom as well, but Broly gets the first pick, but Sad is going to clean things up. 3K, give them the 4K. That's the cleanup you're looking for, and to be honest, you took what? You took the 3-for-1 trade? Oh, you take that if you're RG.
Yeah, and all you did was use your own orbital array there. I think you're fine with that. Unready used theirs, and like you said, a 3-for-1, especially with what you see coming up here for RG. You're still holding on to the Blizzard. You have the rally up as well. Rose not that far behind their own rally, but that's the only thing that MF has coming up into this next engagement. RG is in a really, really good spot here to take point D back incredibly quickly, especially if they're going to be able to find a quick kill here. I mean, these Ice Walls with Thanatos have been great so far. Haven't been able to confirm one of the kills yet of anyone they've trapped off.
Yeah, it's something we're really going to see a lot as the rally is going to be used here by Rose to get super duper low, but at this point it's still alive. Thanatos is going to throw on the freeze. Pretty much it's exclusively just use it on Skittles Forks. I assume they thought that maybe Skittles Forks was going to have a lot more health than that, but either way, it's probably settled this fight down the drain, and to be honest, this is where you're completely fine to be going 50-50 with Oomph at this point. So now you're going to be a 3-1. The ult advantage is pretty much back in your favor.
And and talking about the ult advantage here, you want to know what's so big about that fight going RRG's way? Rose invested the rally to get everything started in that engagement. Thanatos respond with the Blizzard of their own, but then they use nothing else. So they have King Q's rally here, which will help them out greatly, especially as Broly's Holy has this cage. You could see a couple great combos come out here.
Yeah, and they can take the time a little bit longer right now, because right now, just doesn't have anything to invest, but RRG, you have to wonder if they're going to take the risk or not of investing multiple ults into this fight, because if they get this orbital array, I think they're going to go, and they're going to go fast and try to end this point right here. But the way, Dex got to see it happen, because they're bringing in the aggression right now. Skittle Force is going to get forced out. The cart is starting to peek over, and right now, I think they're debating it right now, because they might not do this.
I don't like this kind of play here from them. Unready has that orbital ray coming up online. You at least go in and try to engage into a fight. You're probably grabbing something out here, especially as they have Death Blossom, Deadeye. I mean, Deadeye might be there just to melt down the cage that Broly's Holy has. But, I mean, 9 ultimates ready here, Hunter. We're going to see a lot come out in the next 30 seconds, starting with 3 already. 4.
Yeah, and I'm about to say, this must be an important fight right now of this entire series, and it's going the way right now of who are cleaning things away, but also just burnt everything in the ult economy. RG are going to hold on to 2 ultimates. 2 very powerful ultimates, I should add.
Yeah, but here's the problem now. That fast start that RRG had, they capped the first 2 points. Well, guess what, Hunter? It's a best of 3 from here on out. It doesn't really matter about that fast start anymore. Yeah, the ultimates they have are great. The Orbital Ray and Blizzard are enough to win fights just on their own. Yeah, heavily invested in that last fight, but that's been something they've been doing this entire map. If you're you need to play aggressively, and hey, guess who's hot again?
Yeah, Ruby's gonna be back online, and right now you already saw the pin go through, so now the freeze is a viable option, but Thanatos is just gonna go, it's just literally gonna go down, and they're gonna give up a fight and did nothing to really do it. They get a recontest though, maybe.
You get a recontest here. Hey, you have to get a recontest here. You have the ultimates right now. You need to get a recontest here and use one of those ultimates, probably the Orbital Ray, just to keep them alive here.
Yeah, and everybody's going to come out. Sad is in a rough situation, is going to try to hide away right now, best they can right now. As right now, this Orbital Ray is just going to cease to clear everything out and bring this back in their favor. But King K is going to go down. The freeze is going to be thrown in the middle of nowhere. It's going to freeze nobody as well, and now things are falling apart. Oomph is pulling back the fight right now. Thanatos doing their darndest to help out. It looks like they will be able to do so, but the triple strike there from Ruby to get rid of Pickles, and now a Deadeye with Tenji trying to clear things away. The right click to clear things away. RG go for the retouch, and now that might be their undoing.
And they needed to get the retouch there. They needed to, but they needed to go in as more of a team. We kind of talked about during the break that RG, they want to play aggressively a lot. They need to almost play like a hive mind around each other. And yeah, going into this comp that is running, not necessarily the best idea, but that Orbital Ray would have found a lot more value if they held on to it for about one more second before they, or one more second longer, because that their entire team would have been on point and probably found a pick or two here. But Rally already out from Rose and Hunter. This might be the beginning of the end.
Yeah, you have this right now. Death Blossom ready, but they're going to hold on to it. Deadeye's going to be used, and now points can be unlocking. Everyone needs to back out and set up for a last-second touch, but they're not going to give them the opportunity. He's going to try to clear things out right here, right now. RRG, it's even a question if they have a touch, and at this point, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. A dominant showing here for to move on to the next round, and RRG JV, unfortunately, no chance to meet their varsity team. They are going to be sent out here, and the lowers. That is an unfortunate way to go out, but we saw the fight for this team. Let's be perfectly clear. They put everything into it at the very end.
Yeah, and we talked about the mistakes, and that's definitely something that came back to bite them throughout this entire series. They had fast starts. There were multiple times this entire series where you said, like, where we were talking about, like, they had finally figured out how to go up against this oomph team, but it always seemed like oomph decided to make the right swaps at the right time. I mean, they came out running something a little bit different here and immediately went right back over to the Malga of their own, and you see the difference here. I mean, the fast start for RG just kind of disappeared for them, and I hate to say that for them because this was by far their best map. Even with a lot of their players role swapping throughout this entire series, this was probably the best lineup they brought in an entire map, and they were so close. But and this is the only map I can really say there were no big mistakes from them. I mean, we talked about maybe the investment of the ultimates on this final point C fight, but they needed to use them there. If they held on to them, I don't think they would have been in the same exact spot they were. It's a whole bunch of what ifs here for this RG team, but Oomph is definitely the better team out of here tonight. I mean, when you look at who they lost to in the first round to send them down to the lower bracket, it was Squirt Squad, who made it to winners finals. And I mean, if you're Oomph now, you're looking at one game away from getting a little bit of revenge. But here's the stats for the final map, and Hunter, we can easily say this was by far the closest map in this series. Just look at the stats here.
Yeah, it's way more even. There's no big disparity between eliminations or deaths. In this situation, even just damage, you can kind of see the numbers a little bit higher, over on the side of, which, to be fair, when they take away the win, that's going to happen right there. But, I mean, no, it's very clear this was the closest both these teams had been throughout the entirety of this series. Some would argue by a mile right now. But either way, everything is even as it is. Only one team can kind of come away with the win. But, I mean, we've been talking a little bit in the background here about Umbretta and how well they've done today. We're going to show that comparison between them and Ew Pickles. And looking at the comparison decks, not a ton of disparity, actually, all things considered.
No, not at all. I mean, if you look at this here, Ew Pickles did better than Umready. Here. The only difference was Unready was able to get off a third orbital ray. Ew Pickles was not. That's the one thing here. You see healing more on Ew Pickles, damage more. And everything is on the side of Ew Pickles except one thing there. Actually, two things. My bad. Final blows per 10 and deaths per 10. That was the only thing that Unready was able to do a little bit better, and that's because they had one less death than Ew Pickles. I mean, this, like I said, this was by far the best map for RRG, but it was just able to come out on top again, and it was not because what we talked about in maps 1 and 2, the little mistakes that RRG was making. This was just a map where RRG put everything together, but you saw throughout it here show that they were the better team, even going up against the RRG team that was not making the mistakes.
Yeah, and I think the biggest error kind of comes back to when they were ahead in that 3-1 situation where, I mean, the play in that situation is either to, because I think in that situation, you go in either way. But the question is you either invest and you try to win it right then and there, at the very least you're trading out ultimates, or you just go in, you push dry, and you get some ultimates out and you probably lose the fight. They did neither of those things. They pushed up, they let them build ult charge on them essentially, and then never took a fight on the point, which... That's essentially leaving money on the table in that situation, which again, it's unfortunate, but at this point, to be fair, you went in here. You got to get a performance throughout the season. You managed to at least win a single game within the playoff bracket. And to be fair, a lot of teams can't say that. A lot of teams cannot say that they won a playoff game this season.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that didn't make playoffs. RGJV was able to get the last laugh on their varsity counterparts here, but at the moment right now, their varsity team has a very tough matchup as well in this loser's second round against Inenra coming up here in the next couple days, I imagine. But RGJV, I mean, again, I always love to shout out the collegiate teams that play here, and I really do think they were one of the more better improved teams in the back half of this season. And I mean, they went up against some very, very formidable foes after their varsity team in that first round. I mean, they went up against Big T-Tar Fan 600, who is currently sitting in the grand finals waiting for their opponent. And then they go up against down here in the lowers, who was a very, very good team throughout the regular season as well.
Yeah, it's definitely something we're at the scene. As much as I wish we could sit here and have it all happen, I'd be willing to stay up all night casting the rest of these playoffs, but it's not realistic, unfortunately. But one thing we can do is we're going to set up a little interview with the member over from So we're going to get that set up, so we're going to cut it to another little break here. So stick around, because we got the interview in the desk. It's going to break it down after that, so make sure you stick around. Welcome back from the other side of the break. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just experienced a 3-0 win here today. The winner is going to move on to the next round at the lower bracket. And here to join us over from the side there, it's going to be Pizza Hut official joining us. And first and foremost, congrats on this team's good victory here in the lower bracket.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And obviously going through, y'all earned your spot going into the playoffs here. Getting down the situation, I mean, realistically, going from the very beginning of the season, what were kind of the expectations of this team from the very beginning?
You know, we came into this season, we had a rough last season, last year. And we came into here and we really thought, like, hey, let's just go out and have some fun. This is one of our better seasons. Pretty proud of my team. I'm glad I got to be a part of this team,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been fun following you guys throughout the entire season, the ups and the downs. I mean, it's been just incredible. But going into tonight's matchup, and especially in that first map, we saw it a lot. RRG wanted to play very, very aggressively into your guys' comp. Was that something you guys kind of expected coming into tonight?
I think my team, we're expecting everything all at once. I don't think anything can really surprise us that hard. We have some great DPS, great tanks, great supports. So, in my opinion, we're not an easily surprisable team.
Hey, great answer there. But hey, here's we have a very interesting thing coming up this next week. That's season 14 patch, introduction of a new hero, and just probably an overall meta change here. Is your team really looking forward to that, getting away from this Malga comp, or would they really like to try to stay with what they're playing right now?
Yeah, realistically, both of our tanks that play, they really hate playing Malga. I can't really blame them, but if it's not Diva comp, I'm fine with it. I hate Diva.
Either way, obviously still a little bit of a journey as well with those changes when they come through. Still a lot of matches y'all are going to have if you want to win the whole thing. We do know y'all will be going against the winner of RRG Varsity and Anara right now, who should have a really back and forth affair. But I mean, between those two teams, Squirt Squad, who's waiting in the losers finals, and big Tar Fan 600, who's waiting in the grand finals, are there any of these teams that y'all are really kind of at least hoping the most to have a match against?
Well, I wouldn't say hoping the most. Both of them are fantastic teams with fantastic players. But personally, I love Squirt Squad. They got my boy Zazo on there. I love Zazo. Could give him a smooch on the cheek one of the times. Maybe on the lips if he wants me to. But yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta kiss the homies goodnight, but in this sense, we'll let you do that off camera, and what we're gonna do is, before we send you on your way to be able to go celebrate, we are gonna give you the opportunity. If there's anything you want to personally say, if there's anybody you want to thank, we'll give you an opportunity to do so, so we're gonna open up the floor to you, so take it away.
Yeah, shout out my team. I love my dogs. Those are my homies. Shout out my mom. Fucking love my mom and my dad. My siblings, too. And I guess I can just leave it at free Ruby. Get Ruby off the hand cam list. That boy's in.
That's somehow the least controversial thing I've heard this entire week on interviews. So either way, congratulations on a big win here, and obviously for the rest of your team, best of luck for the rest of the playoffs.
Thank you, Huz. Have a great night.
All right, you take care. Man.
Well, Hunter, I mean, hey, he did do one thing there. Shout out all the moms.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you love to see it. I don't know if I've heard somebody shout out their mom in a long time in one of these.
No, that's always one of the surprising things. I feel like that's always the easiest things to shout out, yet no one ever shouts out their mom here. But this was, like I said, a very, very good series for them. They did really benefit off the fact that in the first two maps, RG was making mistakes. But RG, we talked about them there, they still put up a really good fight here, a hell of a fight. Even. I mean, they looked at every map, they looked like they had figured something out. They looked like they had finally able to, flip the tides a little bit, but this team came right back in and shut down those hopes.
Yeah, 100%. Anytime we saw momentum go to the way of RRGJV, unfortunately, it fell apart very quickly after the fact. But either way, this means their journey is going to be able to stay alive. They get to keep their fight going in this situation. Again, that's going to be the winner of Anarod and RG Varsity. So maybe the Varsity team can get a little bit of revenge, but Either way, that's going to be reserved for a whole different day. Instead, we're going to be bringing it over to our desk here to break down all the action, because while we might have a quick night in front of us here tonight, we are going to have a very entertaining one. So let's go ahead and send it back over.
Thank you to our casters, Hunter Tane and Dexitron, for that amazing matchup. And I mean, a mmmfghm 3-0 crushing, dominating. I don't think there's enough words in the lexicon to describe what just happened here, that kind of a victory. And now they get to continue their lower bracket run through to hopefully make that grand finals appearance. Spectrion, I know you got a lot of words for us right now about what happened here.
Oh, yeah, I think there was definitely some sloppy Overwatch played, right? I think that's clear to everyone who was watching. You know, for example, on Hollywood final fight, we see Kunkei get the beat and then use the self-destruct, which gets rid of all the beat health, because remember, it's stuck onto your mech rather than onto yourself, and then dies to a tourbillon turret before they can remech. You don't love to see that. Or, you know, second final fight, I think, on Hanaoka. RRG HAV comes into it with significant auto advantage. They've got Orbital Ray and Blizzard into nothing at all. But then their Ray is too far back, so it gets fully kited, and then they Blizzard nobody. And even though they managed to isolate Skittleforks, who's on an island, they just decide to not kill the Malgar, I guess. So the rest of the team walks in and just wins. And then because they lose a fight they invested 2 ults into and their opponents invested nothing, then they're kind of behind ults for the rest of the game. That's also not what you love to see. But in general, I think it was just were making less silly mistakes like that. They were playing a little bit cleaner, and even though they weren't finding like Hail Mary, lottery ticket winning double boops, then you know at the end of the day, they were quite significantly today, I think, the better team.
Yeah. I mean, you start off with the Bowser double kill at the very beginning of this matchup, and if you're a RRG fan, you're like, we're so back. But then the match and the series progresses, Joker, it turns from we're so back to kind of cooked.
Yeah, it's never been more over, right? I mean, everything just kind of went wrong after that, right? For RRG. It was just a weird game. We were talking about we were kind of cooking
Highlights. Look at these highlights.
Yeah. We were cooking. Hey, yeah, I mean, Sad looked pretty good on this, right? But yeah. I don't know how you get kills with that, but yeah, RRG, they just couldn't match up to in the end.
Ray, I think the highlight reel is giving us everything that we need to see here on the mmmfghm victory and everything that they were able to do. But that's not even to talk about that RRG had some moments of brilliance, but it felt like those moments were too few far and spread between, right? Because you look at how the Hollywood map went, RRG was doing pretty valiantly up until the very end. The beginning of Hanaoka, doing pretty valiantly till the very end. And so it just never, they start off strong and then just taper off, right? And it never coalesced to that victory they were looking for.
Yeah, their defense on Hollywood was actually pretty good, and then they got the first point relatively quickly, and then it just kind of all collapsed from there. I mean, I'm just feeling pretty good. I'm just going to sit here and say it has been a rarity that me and Spectrion have been this right this many times in a row.
You know, Ray,
it doesn't happen very often, so I'm gonna take our big dubs when we can. Like Spectrion's in the background mauling, like, I don't want to be right this way. Like, I'm just like, nah, man. Take your victories when you can have them.
Especially when it's over
the
Hunter
thing.
and
Like,
Exotron,
like we
right?
picked 3 O's, and the
Sam
rest of y'all were 3 2s. Like, we were so right, and y'all, like, even Joker, who was right, was like the furthest right he could be.
Ray, no one likes a
Wait a second. Wait a second. No, I predicted the right team and I'm getting flamed for it. This is ridiculous.
No, I'm saying, like, we were just so right. Like, okay, so Sam and them, they were wrong, and they were, like, very wrong. They were picking close on their side. You were right, but you picked it, like, as far away from us as possible while still being on the right side.
Yeah.
This is so...
How am I getting flamed for that?
Spectrion.
Yeah.
Spectrion was just staying quiet through this whole thing. He's like, it's
like
like
I don't want my prize.
He's mauling too much.
He just wants to go bed.
I feel
his brain
no. I feel like
become mush.
Have you guys ever been, when you're in maths, right?
Right.
And you apply the totally wrong equation, and you get the right answer anyway?
Yes.
And like you get marked for it anyway. You're like, I'll take it, but you don't love to see it. That's kind of where I'm at. I feel like I have lucked my way into a correct spread because I didn't expect many of the things that happened here today. If you asked me what we will see in Hollywood, I would not say Torbjorn. If you asked me if a team would lose a Blizzard Ray fight into nothing, I would say no, absolutely not. They would need to be apes on keyboards.
Hold on,
Alright,
hold the phone
do you
real
think-
quick.
Does this match up
I'm
for a
just
matchup
saying-
on Friday?
No, Friday was generational. Sam?
I'm just saying, Sam can attest. We had a Torbjorn MVP 2 weeks ago when you guys were in Stockholm, and the Torbjorn change was actually the reason they won Runesapi and won the series.
Nope, it's
it
true.
was crazy. So
true.
I don't like the shade we're being thrown.
I'm not throwing shade at Torb. Like I said, I had the number one Torb in Europe on my team. I know the value of Torb, but you need to have the Torbjorn brainworms, right? And you just don't predict those.
Okay, hey, you know what? Predictions all abound. You can't make those, but at the very least, you made the correct prediction on the score line. And it's like you said, Spectron, you get the test back as just a big question mark over your formula, your process, but you still get full marks because you were right. You got there eventually. Hey, we talked about it though, right? We had a Torbjorn MVP 2 weeks ago. Now it's time to crown another MVP for this week. And I may have spoiled it a little bit there by saying Torbjorn, and we saw it in the highlight reel, them popping off with it, but we have to reward it yet again to another Torbjorn player. This time around, it is going to our series MVP is Sad. And I think a lot of what we're seeing here, right, again, it's really easy to talk about giving a DPS player the MVP title, right? But the way that Sad performance was this entire evening just felt like it was, again, that next step, that next level.
From Tracer to Torbjorn to Pharah, and I even think at points they played Reaper. They were just absolutely dominant. I mean, how could you not give it up to the man who not only played Torbjorn, but actually made it work and got to play the game on the Torbjorn?
Yeah, exactly. And Spectron, that's also like the biggest thing that we can talk about when it comes to a DPS player is their flexibility to be filling these multiple roles. But Sad was able to do it and made it work for themselves many a times.
Yeah, DPS is a hugely varied role, I think, much more so than anything else in the game, I even want to argue. Obviously, Sad being able to do it on multiple different picks across multiple different categories is incredibly impressive to me. One thing I want to mention specifically as a bit of a vouch in terms of him is if you watch back that Lijiang Tower, watch how little ROG are allowed to play the game because they're so heavily poked out, right? And that is because of Sad, who was just putting on an absolutely lights-out show, right, in that first map. Like, in the end, it was like 35-5. ROG aren't able to take a single advantage fight in their favor because they're just getting spammed out literally 24/7. And that trend, though it doesn't continue as much, that kind of trend of dominance at least continues all throughout this series.
No, it did, Joker, right? Sad was giving us a performance on a whole roster of different heroes, but the Torbjorn is obviously going to be that cherry on top. That's the one where we always look at. But again, it's seeing the differences that they were able to play on different types of heroes, not only in the way that they played, but, you know, projectile versus hit scan, and still being able to get the value, right? And again, it's really easy to point at the DPS player and be like, "Oh, they shoot good," but Sad was able to do more than that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to appease our casters because they wanted us to mention Umreti on the Juno. But it's Juno, so like.
Yeah, but their predictions were wrong too. So do we really?
Yeah, they're clearly not ball knowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not like Timothy Chalamet with.
I was about to say that.
Football. I think it is kind of crazy to think about just flipping back and forth between hit scan and projectile heroes so fluidly, right? Not really missing a step either. Just crazy. Especially like Pharah and Torb are such different heroes. Reaper's such a different hero as well. Like it really made a huge difference to say that they were able to do that.
Exactly, and that is one of the biggest reasons why we were able to award them our series MVP for this matchup on the side of mmmfghm. Sad, big congratulations to you as well as to your team. Again, continuing that lower bracket run here in the playoffs. Now they get to face off against the winners of the other matchup that's happening. That does include the RRG varsity team. Unfortunately, Brain does not remember who the other team was, but it's still going to be a very exciting. Thank you. So we got that matchup going on. A lot of playoffs that are going to continue. I don't know if it's now, but it is going to happen. So mmmfghm is going to be waiting for that matchup completion to be able to go up against the winner of one of those two teams. Tomorrow. There you go. Tomorrow. Thank you for that, Joker. So again, a lot of really exciting action. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at that schedule that we have coming up, as a matter of fact. So, of course, we had our EU and NA matchups here. Both a 3-0 stomps across the board. We had 3 Overwatch today, gentlemen. And what a glorious day it has been. But if you're a little sad that we're done with Overwatch, well, I have good news. Because we have more Overwatch coming up tomorrow. Or regular CGL. Unfortunately, no Saturday night Overwatch, but it's still going to be hopefully produced and hopefully casted over. So, again, more opportunities to be able to watch Overwatch. So make sure you hit that follow button on our YouTube and our Twitch pages so that way you get notifications to when this channel goes live. Gentlemen, I want to give a big shout out to all of you on the desk, Spectreon, Joker, and to Tryhard Ray. Spec, any last words before we close out the evening?
Guys, just remember, anytime you think you've got a new read on the meta, you don't. Play Echo, Reaper, Malga, you will win.
Wise words from Spectreon. Listen to this man. He's smart. Please listen to him. I don't know if he can mold anymore. His blood pressure, he's going to explode. Joker, final words, my friend.
When your DPS are better than the other team's DPS, you're going to win.
Ray, can you back that up?
Sure. I'm just gonna take the sponsored message from the School of Spectreon Thought. Just play Echo Reaper, and every time you play Echo, dupe the Reaper. Just go double Reaper. Like just do it.
Yeah, that's real.
We got the advice panel for the end of our desk tonight. I like that a lot. I really do. I do want to give more.
Don't even bother with the Malga dupe. Just Reaper. You're gonna get your ult, and you can double Death Blossom fights. Like it's crazy.
I've learned a lot. I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this advice into my ranked games and hit GM by tomorrow morning. So thank you, Spectreon and Ray and Joker. You have all enlightened my bronze brain very much. I do want to give big shout outs to our behind the scenes production staff, though. Of course, that being Hippie, June, along with all of our amazing other observers with Rhino Cry and Orange as well. Our casters Hunter Tane and Dexter Tron. They did very good. Not so good on the predictions, but, very good on the casting part of everything. And, of course, again, a big shout out to everyone on the desk. So make sure you hit that follow button, get notifications to when we go live, because there's going to be more exciting CGL Overwatch happening tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Yeah.